What's up, internet? My name's Ori. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. You like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell so you never miss a video, you never miss a stream. Today is Saturday, August 20th. It's day 46 inside the Big Brother house. And we've got a lot to go over. Not only did we have nominations yesterday, one of the veto comps took place, and someone spilled all of their game. We're going to break down everything that's going on. So where we left off yesterday, we thought we had a pretty good idea of where the nominations were to be. Brochella, it was pretty simple. Monte and Jasmine were probably going to be the nominees, Jasmine being the target. Over in Fest, it seemed like it was going to be Kyle and Joseph. There was a little bit of an idea of putting just the showmance up right off the bat, Kyle and Alyssa, but it seemed like after having conversations with Alyssa and Kyle that Terrance was going to put Kyle and Joseph on the block. Then this morning happened. So Fest wake up a lot earlier with the light shining into the backyard. They're sleeping outside. They have porta potties to use. There's an outdoor shower. They have a little makeshift kitchen that they can make some food in. But they're basically have-nots living in the backyard. There's not a big setup for it. They're just camping outside. It's what's happening. And they get up earlier than everybody else. Terrance was the first to get up in the morning. He was trying to get all of his tattoos off himself because he still has them on because he hasn't been able to take a real shower. This was like the worst punishment to have and then have to be outside. He had, a couple conversations with everybody before the nomination ceremony, but before his conversation with Kyle had a conversation with Alyssa, and he told her everything. He told her all about the leftovers. He was saying, like, hey, why do you think all those nominations and the people who went home happened the way they did? Because we've been working as a 7. Monte and Kyle, they were pressuring me. They were pushing me into stuff. They're running the whole thing. And Michael and Brittany, they're tired of Monte and Joseph running everything. And it's easy. Let's say this, 90% of what he said was true, but he was framing it like, well, it's all them, and I was just pulled along, and I'm sorry that I lied to you. Well, that goes that. So much for Kyle and the leftovers. When we did our alliance chart for this past week, we could bring that up just to take a look at what that was. You could see I did already have Kyle drifting away from the leftovers after the whole veto scandal where he didn't want to use the veto and put up Alyssa, even though everybody was kind of on board with that. Then they started saying, well, I wasn't on board with that, and some people are telling me that they're on board to me, and they're telling Taylor something else. So it was a whole thing, but he is officially just throwing it in on the leftovers. And don't get me wrong, in his position at this moment, it's his only shot. It would have appeared that Kyle would have been the one to go home if he didn't do this. And I did say that maybe Joseph could use this as a Hail Mary attempt if he ended up being on the block come eviction night, that maybe he could then tell Terrance, listen, here's what's going on. Kyle and Alyssa, they've been lying to you this whole time, and maybe use that as a way to get Terrance to not send him with the tie that would end up happening if it happened to be Kyle and Joseph. But Kyle then went and told Terrance as well. So the leftovers are completely exposed now. The only person, now this, I think if he knew about this, like obviously he would be upset that the alliance is exposed. But if Turner knew that Jasmine is the only one in the entire house left that doesn't know about the leftovers, I think he would appreciate that. I think maybe that would make it just a little bit less hurtful that everybody knows about that now at this point. So, like I said, Alyssa knows about it. Terrance knows about it. He went and broke down to both of them separately. Everything that happened, how the different nominations and evictions all took place. So that really influenced Terrance, and when it came time for the nominations, well, we knew one half, and the other half ended up being Turner and Joseph. So Jasmine is the target for the Brochella. In Dire Fest, it is Joseph who is now the target. Kyle did also say a couple of things to Terrance, one of which was included the part where Joseph and Monte are the ones kind of running it, but also that he trusts Turner, but he said Turner is loyal to that 7, so you can't tell him. It's most likely going to be Joseph who goes. If he does not win the veto competition, Joseph is in a lot of trouble. If he wins veto, I would imagine that Kyle would be the one that's put up. Alyssa's not going to vote out Kyle. Joseph's not going to vote out Turner. I keep messing up the Terrance and Turner names. Whenever I have to say them near each other, it's too many T's. It's too many T's, okay? Joseph would not vote out Turner. Terrance would then have to be the tiebreaker. And I don't know. I think he would send Turner home based on the information that he now has with the leftovers. Prior to the leftovers being exposed to him, I think maybe he might have sent Kyle home. So this, even though it's a thing, and feels like he's using Terrance as like a, well, see, we're not what people might think we are, and I think you all know what I mean. It's a good move, right? Like, it's saving him this week. I really do think he had the best chance to leave, other than if they just sent Alyssa home, right? So, like, is he saving just his own game because it seemed like Kyle and Joseph were going to be going on the block together? Or was he just trying to save him and Alyssa and just get rid of Kyle now they can take a shot? It's really going to be quite something when they come back together after this week. Kyle has told Terrance and Alyssa that he would rather them blame Joseph for the nominee for spilling the leftovers, which I don't know how that's going to work exactly. Like, what do you got to tell him? There was a moment where I did think Turner knew and he caught on that maybe Kyle had filled him in, and he went and had a conversation with Terrance, and he's like, yeah, well, when people's backs are against the wall, they'll say anything, but I don't think they 100% know that the whole leftovers has been spilled, especially because when they had talks with Terrance after the nominations, they pretty much denied any implications that there was any kind of alliance or 7. Terrance tried to lay little seeds of like, well, are you, is there anything else going on maybe that, we're not aware of and stuff like that. He was trying to give him a chance to say it, but you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't in that situation. You either dig yourself a deeper hole or you confirm to him what Kyle just told you, and neither are good. Neither are good in that scenario. Let me see. Let me go over my notes here from some of the different stuff that we had that went on, because that was a big situation that happened today. That really broke the Dire Fest down to being very simple. And Joseph had to win veto already. It seemed like he was in trouble. But now, if he doesn't win, he's going home. And if he does win, it looks like it might be Turner. Go home. Goes to jury. So it almost looks like one of them is guaranteed to go to jury now at this point. But how that all breaks down when we get into everything else, we'll see. Meanwhile, on the inside with Brochella, everything's a lot more peaceful. Monte is still the perceived target from Jasmine, but it's all going to be about veto. If Jasmine doesn't win veto, it seems like it was inevitable that, you know what, I think she'll go home. Yes, Michael and Brittany have had some talks about maybe it's time to take that shot, but really they've kind of boiled down to all like, well, let's wait and see what happens with the veto. We never really know what's going on. Yeah, it's a thing because the veto competition was held in Brochella. yesterday. Now, what was the veto competition? It was a classic Big Brother stay or fold estimation game, right? So there was a bunch of stuff that they had to look at, try and estimate how much is there. You make a guess, and then you have to decide whether or not you stay and try and earn a point, or you fold and stay alive for a later round. It's a classic game, not only because it involves, being good at estimation, but also strategy into how you play against your opponents. Apparently, the person who won crushed it, and that person is Brittany. Brittany is your veto winner. Not only was it stay and fold, apparently Tiffany from last season, she hosted, but virtually, kind of over a screen. It had kind of a fancy theme. They were all dressed up and stuff, so I don't know if it was like what kind of actual theme it was, but they were all wearing nice fancy clothes. Their own clothes, by the way, like dresses and like shirts and stuff like that. They look good. They look good. But that actually happened really late at night. At one point, I was like, why are we going to puppies right now? We're going to the puppy cams? Why? And then it ended up being the veto competition. It seems like they took place at different times now because we have not seen Dire Fest. They'll probably take place tomorrow for their competition. We also don't know 100% how this all worked out, not having the backyard. I think what they ended up doing was that room we kind of talked about that they used in Big Brother 22, in Big Brother 23 a little bit. That's off-site, but it was obvious that the competition didn't happen in the backyard. I think they are using that room for the competitions for this week. So we'll see how that is. But we thought that maybe there was a chance that they set that up for the outside Dire Fest people to live in. But it seems like that's just going to be where they're going to continue to do the competitions for this week. Dire Fest, I would imagine, are going to have it tomorrow. And the reason why they've done it this way is just because they have so much stuff they have to edit and break down. When they're filming things, they have to be different. The nomination ceremonies happen kind of at different times. So like one was nominated and then we came back and then the other ones weren't nominated yet. So they're doing everything separately, which all, again, makes sense for a production standpoint. But we should find out who is veto winner in Dire Fest tomorrow. Possibly even today, actually. Now that I think about it, we might find out who won the veto today. But we'll see. Other than that, after the veto, Brittany and Jasmine had kind of a pitch campaign meeting trying to get her to, not only use the veto, but also keep her. And she promised her the world. She talked a mile a minute. It was like a million things, just spitting everything at her. She wouldn't shut up. And Brittany was just like, okay. No promises that she made to her or anything like that. So it seems pretty likely that the nominations are just going to stay the same. There's no reason for Brittany to use it at all. But Michael and Brittany have again had those conversations. Like, maybe it's time to do it. Maybe it's not. They have thought about it. They even threw out the idea that maybe they would tell Monte that Kyle wanted to take a shot at him. So there's potential. There's potential that they do that. Michael seemed against it. He didn't think it was the right time to do it yet. But I mean, if they did, it would mean that they would really fight, especially going in to next week when they come back together and either Joseph or Turner isn't there. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. Brittany also denied to Taylor that she has a final two formalized with Michael. She kind of went like, we both kind of know it's going to be tough if we went against each other, and we just never really kind of said it and officially made one. Like, obviously, we talk a lot of game and stuff like that, but as far as like a final two, no. Like, she just kind of was like, So yeah, it's kind of interesting. I think that's just, again, to kind of gain Taylor's trust, make sure she doesn't like slip, not be part of the final three that they kind of have going on. Because I think for Brittany, the ideal situation is a final three of her, Michael, and Taylor. She feels like both of them would probably take her to the final two. But again, this is kind of a cool little insight into what the end game is going to be like for the this season. It's one of the reasons why, even though I don't like that they've done the schoolyard pick and they got to kind of gamify the pick even on who gets to be in which group. I wish it was a lot more random. I am liking this twist for a couple of reasons. One, this is always that kind of year, kind of time of year during the Big Brother season where things start to get a little slow, a little bit predictable. Like you kind of want something to freshen it up. Like, yeah, you could throw a double eviction in there, but sometimes it takes away that like funness and chaos that you see happen. With this, it's very drawn out. Yes, some of the feeds are a little bit slow. Everybody's real tired. They're allowing some like napping during the days as well. They're being very lenient on that. So there's not really much going on, but it's giving us insight to also how these players are going to play in the end game, what their decision processes are like, how they're going to maneuver in such a small group with only a few people left. It really kind of lets us see how things could turn out when we do eventually get to that final scenario with 5 people left, what these different players would be like when we get there. So it's very cool to see that as well. Plus, like I said, when it gets this very predictable nature to it, by adding this twist in, it breaks up big alliances, makes things a lot less predictable. Honestly, if you would have said before the groups are picked that it would be Jasmine and Joseph, I don't think a lot of people would have picked Joseph as the one that would have been going. They kind of saw him being fairly safe depending on how the groups were. But now that the groups have played out the way they are, we saw that Joseph was going to be in a lot of trouble. And then now that the leftovers are exposed, they're in even more trouble because the fact that they can't talk makes it even more unpredictable. And it's just adding a whole new layer to the game that I'm really enjoying right now. And I think it's got some kinks to be worked out, but I would not mind seeing this twist future seasons as well. But other than that, it really kind of breaks down everything that happened so far yesterday on the feeds. Like I said, they get up very early. They've been staying up fairly late inside the house as well. They're all really bored. They're trying to play lots of different games. I think it was Turner and Joseph were playing some kind of like makeshift cornhole game where they had the blue Big Brother floaty that was that round floaty, and they kind of set it up on an angle and they were kind of tossing the beanbag back and forth. I don't even know what it was they were tossing, but it was like you would toss a cornhole beanbag. So they were playing that game. They have Chinese checkers outside because somebody had grabbed that. And then inside, they obviously have the bumper pool, a chessboard, and checkers as well. So they're playing lots of that kind of stuff, kind of hanging out and chilling. So when you get to that kind of late stage of the games, the feeds can end up being a little bit slow, but there's so much going on that a lot of times it's still fun. It's still fun. This season has been just amazing, and they've been finding a lot of great ways to kind of keep us excited and not letting the momentum die. So we'll see how this all turns out, but let me know in the comments down below, what do you guys think of the twist? What do you think of Kyle blowing up the leftovers? I'm sure a lot of you will have some thoughts about that. Let's keep it civil. I understand there's a lot of big thoughts on it. But what do you think game move wise? Do you think it's a good move for his personal game, or do you think it's a terrible idea to expose the alliance, especially with next week coming back together? It could tank his game, especially if Turner stays and he's not happy about how Kyle went about this. So let me know in those comments down below what you think. Also, make sure if you are new here, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, smash that like button and hit that notification bell so you never miss a video, you never miss a stream. And I will see you next time.